Good evening, health advocates. And guess what? We've just hit cold and flu season. So I thought what better time to talk about some seven great strategies for you to deal with the cold and flu or maybe prevent it. Now, you know my passion about vitamins and minerals. So maybe the first one is, what vitamin minerals do you need to focus on ASAP? The first one, guys, is vitamin C. It's our master immune boosting vitamin we have. I love it in liposomal form. This is just an example because I can have 1 to 4 sachets a day in water and it's gentle on my tummy. Vitamin C in high doses can cause diarrhea. So, of course, vitamin C is my first two in my vitamin range. What's my next vitamin? It would have to be my fat-soluble vitamins, and there's 2 of them, and it's the A and D. Now, this is where it's a bit tricky, guys. When I talk about vitamin D generally in good health, I talk about immune building or bone building, or when it's low, your immune system would be suppressed. Well, when I've got a cold, I need vitamin A and D together. So you can think about foods rich in A and D, and that's your deep sea fish, your oysters, or, you know, I love my bone broth. You could start having one of those a day, or 2 or 3, or you take an A and D supplement together. And you need them to have them together to have an immune building effect or an antiviral effect, which is what the common cold would be. Okay, what's my next vitamin? It would have to be iodine. Look, we all know when we get a sore throat, common from the rhinovirus, we gargle betadine or iodine. Well, what about drinking it? 2 drops of Idril, which is a vitamin iodine I love because it's the combination of potassium iodide and iodine, in a glass of water, not a big glass, gargled, and then you drink it. Do that each morning and you'll find that common cold will go away pretty quickly. Okay, what's my last one, or probably combined, would be zinc. Zinc is so powerful in building our immune system, and this is the one mineral that's got several hundred studies behind it, but you have to take it frequently throughout the day. Breakfast, lunch and dinner, so divide between a 10 and 20 milligram dose, breakfast, lunch and dinner. Now, how about combining those together? There is a wonderful product called Viral Active we do. Ask us about it if you want it, if you're someone about convenience, but you still have to take it 3 times a day. Okay, so that's my vitamins and nutrients. What about general herbs and supporting herbs that can build your immune system, or herbs that are antiviral? So your herbs we do regularly here for your immune system is when we deal with people with fatigue or chronic fatigue or adrenal sort of flatness, we use a lot of astragalus, rhodiola, olive leaf, and even mushroom. I do love a product. It's called the 5 mushroom extracts. You've got to have it 4 to 5 times a day. You have about 10 or 20 mils, and it's wonderful. It's a 5 blended mushrooms, and they're wonderful as an anti or immune building tonic. You've got antiviral herbs too. So what have we got there? Probably, you know, I've got to be proud to say we're a Queenslander because we have developed the first oral melaleuca oil bioactive capsule. Now, this is not tea tree oil that you take that you'd normally put on wounds or disinfectants. This is now a special bioactive component, and it's wonderful. Any client I have who's got a suppressed immune system or who's undergoing a lot of stress, this is a wonderful product for you. And it comes in a capsule, and you have it for at least 28 days. Okay, what about general lifestyle tips? And I'll move on to those. Obviously, rest is important. Okay, that's the most important thing. What about some warm teas and broths? Well, I love ginger tea. Add a bit of honey. It's for flavour, wonderful. Mushroom coffee, that's a good one. I just spoke about mushroom extracts, that's one you could do. What about increasing the bone broth? We spoke about that. What about foods to avoid? Well, guys, it's got to be dairy. Dairy produces mucus. So if I can just take dairy out of my life for about 5 days while I've got the cold and flu, you find your recovery will be better. Okay, what about sugars? Absolutely. Too many sugars in your diet. You go for the carb craving, they're not making you deal with the cold and flu. All they're making you do is prop up the immune dopamine so you feel happy, but then you crash later. Okay, get a good night's rest, good night's sleep. Melatonin, therefore, comes to a big play, which is a hormone we love. And a sleep powder we do also to support rest. And in that sleep powder is a beautiful thing called tyrosine or lysine. Everyone knows when you get a virus, the herpes virus, a cold sore, lysine's the #1 protein. That's in our sleep repair powder. So it's there for you. Okay, what about moving to what is, I'm trying to think some basic tips we have. Clean your hands, guys. You know I love my disinfectant. Wash your hands if you don't have one of these lovely sprays. And of course, keep in a warm environment as much as you can, out of the wind. The last thing I say, what's new? Well, look, generally what's new is we have a lot of different vitamin and nutrients coming, and they're conjugated together. So one of the ones is classically in the B3 family, and this is niacinamide. And of recent, we've had a little explosion of niacinamide derivatives. Fantastic for fatigue, fantastic for your immune system, and brain fog. So one of the newest ones we're getting is a thing called NAD, which is a variety of niacinamide in an oral dispersible capsule. Now this is you take once a day. Now if you're someone who's very busy, cannot afford to get the cold and flu, cannot afford to get fatigued while they've got the cold and flu, ask us about it. It works like a treat. So, ciao for this evening. I hope you picked up a few tips for the cold and flu, and let's hope we don't get one. Bye-bye.